Welcome to Bukia, and in today's episode we will talk about contraception. That's a good start. We'll start with the definition, and birth control or contraception, it's one and the same thing. All it means in a nutshell is ways to prevent pregnancy. With the advent of technology and advances in medicine, there are very many forms of contraception. I'll just mention them, but we'll have a deep dive into it. So it depends on what you're looking for, the duration, the frequency, the efficacy. All these things are usually explained to you by your doctor or your caregiver. How do you choose contraception? Usually a personal decision. The type, what we do as healthcare workers is to just present to you all the forms and explain to you the side effects, the advantages and disadvantages, and then you're able to choose depending on your personal needs, wants, and also ease of access. So I'm going to share with you almost up to 10 questions that will guide you on your choice of contraception. You have to ask yourself questions like, how well does it prevent the pregnancy? How efficacious is it? Is it 100% efficacious? Is it 10, 50, 20%? With natural methods such as, for example, withdrawal, you always have a risk of getting pregnant irrespective of how careful you might be. How often do you have to use it? How easy is it to get? How easy is it to use? There are birth control methods, for example, like pills, that you have to take them every day at a specific time. And if you miss that, you run a risk of getting pregnant. And then also ease of access. And also ease of use, ease of access in terms of, for example, let's say your pills are over today. Are you able to go to the nearest supermarket, chemist, or hospital and have access to the pills? Are there any government regulations against accessing these pills? For so many people, we also have to consider cost. Some of the contraceptive methods are very expensive compared to others. So many countries, like for example, Kenya, condoms are free. So that can also be a very good one. You also have to think about other benefits. There are some benefits, for example, with implants, like for example, no plant. No plant is very well known to reducing the rate and the frequency and also the intensity of period cramps. So it really depends on what you're looking for. This birth control methods, they all have their advantages and disadvantages, and it's usually very subjective. That's why also while you're choosing this, I don't think you should go to your friend and ask them what worked for you and then you want to use what worked for them. No, you have to go to a medical provider, have it tailored to you, to your specific needs and wants at that particular point in time. The other question that you have to ask yourself while choosing a contraceptive method is, do you want to get pregnant in future? Because there are permanent methods, like for example, tying your fallopian tubes or having a vasectomy for men. So if you want to have children in future, of course, you'll not resort for the permanent methods of preventing pregnancy, such as the two that I've mentioned. And then you also have to ask yourself about how soon in future do you want to get pregnant. For example, the injection, the 3-month injection, there's research that has shown that people who are on that type of contraceptive can be prone to acne, can be prone to weight gain, they can also be prone to having longer periods from the time of cessation of contraception intake and getting pregnant. So you also have to consider that. Do you want to get pregnant in the future? And if you do, how soon do you want to get pregnant? One of the most important things that you have to think about is whether that mode of contraception that you've chosen prevents infection. Well, the number one mode of contraception that can prevent you from infections such as HIV and AIDS and other sexually transmitted infections is the use of condoms. It's the one barrier method that has proven to be effective. But there's one myth that people don't know about condoms. It does not prevent you from all sexually transmitted infection. We will talk about it in another video, but then a woman or a man can have HPV. This is human papillomavirus that is usually responsible for cervical cancer in women. It can be passed even with the use of condoms as long as there's contact. And if you're a young woman, it can grow into cervical intraepithelial neoplasia and soon it becomes cervical cancer. So it's very important that you're aware of these exceptions, even much as we say that condoms prevent infections and other STIs such as HIV and chlamydia. Oh, that's another good question. I think I've already sort of talked about them here and there while I was talking about the questions that you should ask yourself. There are different types. The first one, the long-acting methods, and that includes IUDs and implants. IUD is an intrauterine device. Some of them also utilize some hormonal ways to prevent pregnancy. It's not just a barrier method. And then there's also implants, and implants you can have the 1, 2 and 3 strings. So you have no plant, you have Jodel. There's so many types of implants, and there's some that can help you to prevent pregnancy for a period of a year, others 2 years, others 3 years. And again, that's why I said that when you want to get to contraception, when you want to start having family planning, you should go to your nearest doctor and have them give you something that is tailored to you. The other types are permanent procedures, which I'd already mentioned. That's where you have either tubal ligation for the women or a vasectomy for the men. Others are hormonal birth control, and this can be pills, they can be injections, they can be patches, they can be vaginal rings. For the pills, you can have the emergency pill. The most common one, I think, is the Postino 2. And then you also have the birth control pills that people usually take every day at a specific point in time. Then you can have injections, for example, Depo-Provera. It's usually effective every 3 months. You just have 1 injection in your buttock and you're good to go. Have patches, and you can also have vaginal rings. The barrier methods available include use of diaphragms, and then also, though use of diaphragms can also be classified as a pericoital method, the same way as condoms. These are barrier methods. This can also help you to prevent the spread of infections. Though it's not always 100%, even when you buy a condom, it's usually indicated that it's 99.9% effective. It's not 100% effective, especially in the prevention of infection. And I've already talked to you guys about HPV. I'll do a short video about it so you guys can see it. There's also pericoital ways of preventing pregnancy, and these are the things that you do during the time of sexual intercourse, or as I like to call it myself, coitus. So these are the use of, for example, diaphragms, spermicides, and sponges. Yeah, and make sure that when I say a sponge, I don't mean the sponge that you just get a sponge and use it. No, you have to go to your doctor. I really insist on this. Don't just go to a pharmacy or a chemist. Tell them that I just want to not get pregnant. What can I do? And then they just give you medication. You need to go to your gynecologist, to your obstetrician, to your medical doctor, whoever is a licensed medical professional or a registered nurse. They can help you with this decision. They will explain to you, they will look at you, they will rule out any possible effects. For example, are you obese? Are you prone to hypertension? Are you prone to heart diseases? Do you have, for example, coronary heart diseases? Are you prone to fainting? When you come to us medical professional, we will ask you these questions, and then we'll also help you to narrow down on exactly what you're looking for. Oh yeah, I had completely forgotten about the natural forms of birth control, and that includes withdrawal, following the calendar, and there's recent research that shows that it might not be as accurate as you'd like to see. Most people use apps nowadays to track their menstrual periods and be like, this is when I'm ovulating, this is when I'll be having my menstrual periods, which is very helpful. There's so many people who can say that it has been very effective for them, but it's not always accurate. It's only accurate to a point of 60 to 80%, not the same as these other barrier methods and hormonal contraceptive methods. So you really have to be sort of experienced and careful with the natural ways of preventing pregnancy. For breastfeeding to work, the only source of food for your infant has to be breast milk. In that way, when that's the only food that they take, it means that you're able to express a lot of milk, and you're able to exercise to have a positive feedback to your brain, to the hypothalamus, to produce these hormones which will help to prevent this pregnancy. And this is only effective within the first few months after giving birth, if not weeks. So it should not be something that should be trusted wholly and fully. So you really have to be very cautious when it comes to breastfeeding as a form of contraception. Oh, so that's it for today, you guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Hope to see you in the next video. If you have any questions, make sure to leave all the questions in the comment section. I will do short videos to answer all of your questions, you guys. And you know, if you can also DM, and I'll also help you to narrow down to the specific things that you'd really want to be answered. Other than that, thank you so much for joining in. This is Bugia. It's a new podcast. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Press on that follow button wherever you're watching this from. Thank you so much. Have a lovely day. Bye.